Hi, this is Tracy Pratt, and I am the librarian at Rodriguez High School Library in Fairfield, California. So, this tutorial is going to be all about how to use Destiny Discover and edit subjects and add copies, and some of the terminology and procedures that go with that. At the end, or in the description below, I will have a link to a step by step slideshow tutorial that will take you all the way through. So first of all, some clarification on terms. Now, I'm not going to read this all word for word. I will let you do that on the slideshow. But basically, a title is the catalog record that represents a unique item. So, for example, a book. And so if you think about in the old days where you had a physical card catalog and you had a card, the information on the card about a book, that is the title information or title record that is in Destiny Discover. It's the equivalent. So, on the other hand, a copy is what is attached to a physical book. So, it's the barcode, it's the purchase price. All of those things do not show up on the title record, they show up on the copy record. And the copy in the computer is then attached to the title. So, if I have different versions of the same book, I will have different title records. So, if I have The Hate You Give in English and Spanish, I will have two different catalog records. And so the Spanish copy will be attached to the Spanish title record, and then so on for the English. Now, if I have an ebook version, that will be a third version of it. So just so you know, titles and copies are not the same thing, but they are associated with one another. One is the information, and one is the physical attributes of the item. All right, so let me just clarify here. This whole video is all about subject terms and copies, the importance of having correct subject terms in Destiny Discover. And, they come when you import title records from Follett or wherever you're buying them, then you always want to just eyeball them and make sure they say what you want. But in general, a subject term is a standardized word that describes the main ideas in a book or some other library material. So these are a universal standard. So this is the subject terms for The Hate You Give. And so notice we have racism and race relations and police shootings. So it doesn't say there, it doesn't say anything about murder. It doesn't say anything about Black Lives Matter. It doesn't say anything about any other general words you might associate it with it. If that's because if I look this book up in a library in Pennsylvania, it's going to have the exact same subject terms. If I look it up in Texas or Alaska or in London, it's going to have those subject terms. They are standardized. So, word to the wise, when you start editing and changing and add them, don't really change them unless you just feel like it's completely wrong. But generally, they're fine. Oh, before I move on. So in Destiny, notice it's under Explore. It doesn't say subject term. So be aware if you're not that familiar with Destiny or with subject terms in general. They are not, they don't say subject, they're called Explore. All right, so why do we want to even mess with the subject terms? Well, you can link the subject terms and create unique topics in Destiny Discover. So in Destiny Discover, you got those wonderful ribbon and science fiction and horror and all of that kind of stuff. Well, you can create unique ones. And I am linking a tutorial to the slideshow and in the description below that both has this slideshow as well as a link to my slideshow or my discussion on how to customize the ribbons in Destiny Discover, which it's not hard to do. And it is really cool. I really enjoy playing with it. You can also create resource lists, and of course, in general, you're able to create special interest searches and make them easy. If you've ever tried to find something and you can't find it, then you understand the meaning of easy. Because students, I'm at a high school, they're going to try maybe 2 times and then they're done. If they don't find the book they're looking for or what they think they might be looking for, kaput, they're finished. They're not going to keep trying. So you got to make it easy. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to switch over to Destiny and walk you through how to do it. And so you can see here I'm logged in, and the login button is right here in the upper right hand side. So we're going to put in our search term, and I'm going to do the hate you give. And I'm going to do a search. And you'll see here, whoops, didn't mean to have that over there. Okay, now you see here, I was talking about I have different title records. These are my title records. I have the regular one, I have a special anniversary edition, a Spanish one, and an ebook. So if I click on the title of the book, then I'm going to get a summary. I get the author and the call number. And then notice here, here's my Explore, right? So here are all, and notice they're hyperlinks. So if I click on this, it's going to take me to all of the books about racism fiction that I have in my library. It also has just what I was saying, the publisher, the date, the number of pages, and so on. And then sometimes they'll give like reviews. Now notice they're not linked to the actual review. They're just saying they had these reviews. All right, so now I want to create, for me and my library, I want to create a special collection or shortcut for books that have been made into movies. Books that have been made into movies, I'm going to do a display, I'm going to do a contest, I'm going to push it out to my teachers, and we may be doing something together. So I want to add it as a subject term so that it shortcuts me having to just print out a long list. So it's already all in the system. So in order to do that, I have to decide on the subject term. And I decided books to movies is going to be B2M. B2M. So that is the subject term I'm going to put in there. Now, the reason I chose that was because it's not going to have like movies and books. That word is all over the library catalog. So it will pull all of, if I did a search using books to movies, then it's going to pull everything. But I want a code, and I made it B2M. B2M. So I'm going to edit the title right here. And notice here I can edit the page number, the publisher, all that information. Typically, you don't want to mess with that. Series, if you want to, if it didn't come with the series name or you want to add a volume number, you can do all that. And then subject. So here we go. Now, we don't want to do a topical heading. We want to do a local heading. So hit that drop box and go down to local. And now we're going to go B, and see, there it is. I've already put it in a couple of catalogs. So B2M. And then we're going to update. And if you scroll down at the bottom here, you can see B2M. And now I'm going to save it. And you're always going to get this punctuation screen. Just select everything and save it. That's all got to be tied in with Mark Records. And that's a video all on itself if you want to know more about Mark Records. And now you will see I have B2M. So if I click that, it is now going to take me to the 5 books that I've taken the time to go in and put that subject. So you can see how what a great shortcut that would be, right? You don't have to look up filmography. You just need a list of the books that you want to put the subject heading in, and then you can go right in and do that. Now, remember, on Hate You Give, I had 4 different versions. So if I go back to the Hate You Give, and I click, oh, sorry. So sorry. Okay, so I'm going to go here to Titles by Ed Thomas and go to the Hate You Give. So I'm going to go to the next record, and this is my anniversary. Notice it does not have the B2M shortcut. So for every title record that I have to put the new subject heading in if I want them to show up. So update, save, select, save. And so now I have, if I click B2M, I have both copies, versions of my book. So how cool is that, right? This is so awesome. Okay, so now if I go to Discover, I just want to show you something right quick. So if I go to Discover, when I'm talking about topics, this is what I'm talking about. You can see I've already got a couple of special topics here. All right, so I'm going to go back to back office, catalog. Okay, so then that's it. That's basically it. One of the cool things about that is, so I was talking about those topics. So you can add any special topic or collection, and it doesn't have to have a genre label. It doesn't have to be in a specific place in the library. You just have to make sure you're using that very same subject term for each one. And then here's an example of one I'll be working on, this books to movies. And you can see right there, my subject is B2M, right? And so again, I'll have a link in this slideshow and in the video description that walks you through how to do that. And it's pretty straightforward. All right, so let's talk about adding or editing copies. So we're going to add it to an existing catalog record. You have to have the title record. The copies are attached. Okay, so let's go back to that, and we'll go back to Hate You Give. And then click on the title, and then notice here on the white tab is copies. And here they are. Now I have customized call numbers because I genreified the library. So if I wanted to change the call number, I can. And sometimes I do go in and kind of clean up my call numbers and make sure they're all unified. I just did a big project in law, like Supreme Court law. Now, if I want to add a copy, here it is. I have to put in the barcode, the call number, the price I paid. And I really like to do that because then if a book gets lost, then that purchase price is automatically in there. So that's why you want to do that. Then you can come down here, you can do sub locations like, oh, it's in the librarian's office or it's on display. Generally, I don't mess with sub locations, but a lot of people, bigger libraries, you're going to want to do that. And then if you had a volume or issues like my yearbooks, I put in here and I put volume numbers in. So vendors and funding sources, I mean, it's just as detailed as you want to get. But notice it's just about that one single physical copy. It is not anything to do with the actual information about the book. And then notice here, here's my key. I can edit it. I can copy it. So if I have an exact same book, I just got to change the barcode. And then, of course, if it gets lost or damaged, I can delete it. So that's basically it in a nutshell. And so here is the link, like I was talking about, customizing ribbons. And then my high school library website, which will also have a link below, I've created a librarians page, and that will have all of my tutorials all in one place with the slideshow and the video. So please feel free to contact me if you have any questions or suggestions for other videos. I would love to hear from you. Thanks.